All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna, and I pray that everyone is doing well. When you tune in, go ahead and lick that, hit that like and subscribe, and we're gonna get into it. I've been watching. I was a little late to the conversation, but I've been watching this, and all praise be to the Creator for another day of life. I pray everybody is doing well. I said that already. I just want to say it again. All right. I've been watching as this conversation, this tragedy that happened to this young 25-year-old. I was watching as it unfolded, and a lot of people are doing a lot of videos around, different angles of the conversation. But the crux of the matter is about fake friends, right? So the young woman, if you're not aware of the story, 25-year-old Shanquilla Robinson, she goes with 6 other friends to Cabo to celebrate. She calls her mother when she gets there. She tells her mother they're supposed to have a private chef. And, long story short, the next phone call hey, what's going on, Judah? The next phone call that her mother gets is that the daughter is compromised health-wise, and then the next phone call they get after that is that she has expired. She dies. So in Mexico, the friends come back to America, leaving her body there, and her body has to get flown back. It's a really tragic story, and a lot of it is centered around these so-called friends. And it's interesting because I've seen some videos, some in skit, and we're going to go over them today, and some in a reality of what happens sometimes when who we're calling a friend, it may not be mutual, right? Or we may be the one who wasn't necessarily the best friend to someone else. And I literally just saw a story on one of I think it's a Nigerian network. So I'm going to save that one for last because that one is over the top. And I'm not going to be able to play the whole thing, but we're definitely going to look at it because sometimes in our lives, we want the connection with that person more than the truth of the matter, right? So sometimes because you are in association with the person, or you went to school with the person, or the person is a cousin or a sister, or whomever, we overlook a lot of things because you want to, at our own peril, at our own detriment, right? And sometimes people do it with us. And so this is definitely a cautionary tale, because just even based on the way the so-called friends are even responding to the situation, definitely there appears to have been some red flags. And a lot of times, like I said, we're carrying friends from elementary, from junior high, from college, from work. And maybe at one space in time, you may have connected with these people, because in order to be friends, you have to share something in common, right? But as time goes on, sometimes you elevate beyond that friend, and it doesn't always work out the best. So in this situation, there's a lot of thought that there may have been jealousy at play because of the success of this particular friend, right? And so people harbor those emotions of jealousy and covetousness. This is why the 10th commandment say, do not covet. Because all of the rest of the commandments, even though it's the 10th, it really starts with the coveting, which takes place in the mind and the heart of the person. And depending on what elements are within that person, it's going to manifest differently. Someone may covet in one way and become violent. Another person may try to sabotage you. It really just depends on that individual and what length they will go to, because they feel as though what you have should be theirs at minimum, right? So I want to start with this video that I saw Just Hilarious do. I'm going to say in advance, please watch, or please excuse the profanities. But this video, this what do you call it? This skit comedy, when I saw it, if y'all don't know by now, as I see things in my daily, I kind of tab it. And then when I get enough to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make this a video, that's when you see me come to you in this fashion. So sometimes I'll be a little late to the party, but it's going to be okay. Let me close some of these tabs because it's way too many. Hold on. Way too many tabs. Hold on. Let's release my screen here. All right. Okay, you guys can see that. So in this particular one, it's supposed to be a skit. She does all these skits, if you're not familiar with this comedian. And so this particular skit is supposed to be her going with friends, but one friend doesn't necessarily like the other one. So it comes out in different ways for different people: passive aggressive, snotty comments, sarcasm, shade, depending on the type of personality, it comes out differently, right? And I've known quite a few people with that one toxic friend, and you may be the new person to the group, and you're like, this person is nasty. You know what I mean? Why? Oh, don't worry about them. That's just how they are. Right. So sometimes you have that peacemaker that's trying to kind of smush everybody together, and it only makes it worse. Right. But let's go ahead and listen to this.
They're really into that stuff. I had to stop having sex for myself.
Wait.
Why you so
I certainly didn't bring you to LA for you guys to sleep.
First of all, bitch, this is LA. You act like we vacationing in Cancun, and let a bitch wake up.
Boutique. And she's black owned. I know you guys are really into that stuff.
So you have all of these, and I have to keep stopping because y'all already know, you have all of these personalities where, especially in this time where it's a flex to travel with your friends and girls trip and go here and go there. So it's part of the image for some people, even if you don't like the person, to make it okay for you to go on a trip and to do whatever. So you have one friend who's up and out and she's showing off on the other friend who is sleeping, right?
I had to stop having sex for myself.
Because I would never.
I got you some good stuff. So, what do you guys want to do? Yes.
Well, I don't give a fuck what we do. I want to go to a dispensary because I need some more weed.
Okay, so you want to get drugs first thing in the morning? Okay.
Like a fucking crack fiend.
Yeah, bitch, I need to smoke so I can keep calm from punching your ass in the face.
Now, this sounds very familiar. If we're looking at what was happening in the video that was released, you have some animosity, you have some tension between the so-called friends. This person is saying that they need drugs or they need alcohol or they need whatever it is so as not to take out their aggression on these people who you're calling friends. Why are you there with them if you don't like them? Why did you go? Right? But this is just an illustration, okay? Because this is a skit. So let's continue.
I don't like you. I don't know why Candace brought me here.
There are so many other things we can.
So, and then she says, I don't like you. I don't know why Candace brought me here. I told you there's usually a peacemaker friend, one that has a home girl from second grade. And then one, I think there was another skit like that this is the college buddy, right? And they try to mesh these people together and it doesn't actually work, but out of respect for the friend, they show up. And so this is kind of what you get. Let's continue.
Can do in LA other than get high
And throw your life away.
Well, that's me. So, well, I was thinking that we can go to this brunch. I mean, my dad used to play for the Bengals, so we'll be around George Clooney and Oprah. And
Yes, Shawty meets celebrity too.
oh yeah, she did tell me that you met Chingy.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I did,
And Silk the Shocker, bitch.
and it was very much fun. I bet. So, what do you want to do?
We can do dispensary, we can do brunch. Just please chill on Shawty before she fuck you up.
I'm definitely hungry, but I can't eat till I smoke.
And this bitch not my tour guide.
Okay, well, first let's get dressed.
Okay, so that was that. Just like I said, to illustrate how some of the passive aggressive behavior is within, and they call it catty, right? They call it a cat fight. This type of catty, passive aggressive, back and forth, I don't really like you type of behavior. And in the case of Shanquilla, and the fight that we saw, what we are able to see as the things are unfolding, there definitely had to be this type of energy present, because what would lead you to want to attack someone in the way in which we saw, right? It had to be something that was pre-existing. But sometimes when we either play ignorant or choose to ignore very red warning signs, we find ourselves in compromised situation. There's another one now of this lady. We're going to watch it together because I started to watch it and then I said, you know what, this is right up the alley of what I wanted to talk about. And this one is a woman expressing what this so-called friend did to her, her face. So let's watch this one now. Hold on 1 second. And I'm not saying, some people take it to the extreme and this is why I have no friends, bruh. No, this is about discerning. This is about discernment. This is about to what degree are we willing to compromise ourselves, and the things that we need in order to bond with somebody. If you only are able to bond with somebody over toxicity, if you're only able to bond with someone over smoking or over drinking or over clubbing, and outside of that space, you're not bonding and you want to grow, then you're going to have to let that person go. If the person is never able to talk about anything positive, if when you start to talk about something, these are all warning signs. If you talk about advancement and the person goes cold or disinterested, they're showing you that they're not interested in that. And they're not interested in you growing. And depending on who the person is, they may go beyond. You know what I mean? Judah says, this dynamic was prevalent in my younger years, but me being me, I made it clear in the peacemaker friend that, nah, it ain't going to work. Then I exit. I refuse to allow that negative energy to be near me. And that's something that sometimes that's somebody who knows, you know what, this is the line, this is my boundary, and I don't want you to cross it. You know what I mean? You have all these type of different personalities at play. People often talk about, man and woman relationship, but friendships are something that can influence you even more than man and woman relationship, right? There's a specific part in the 90 Day, I had to bring it up right now, that Shaida's friend, the Trinidadian woman's friend, comes, and Bilal has an epiphany moment, like, wow, Shaida tells her friend everything, and the friend has more influence than you think, right? And sometimes you connect with people who bring out a certain element in you that otherwise wouldn't be there. And sometimes you can be codependent in your friendships as well. But let's continue on with this woman who, interesting story. So let's just go ahead over there.
Annie, and this is my story, how I survived an acid attack. I was 12.
Acid. Okay.
When I met this friend, and we both went to the same secondary school. Our relationship grew, but it was also very toxic. Certain signs and things that she did I should have looked out for. She would just berate me sometimes and say really horrible things. When I was in school as a teenager, I was quite shy.
So in retrospect, it took her to really get injured for her to realize, well, okay, those were signs. You know what I mean? That was something for me to look out for, but I chose to ignore it for whatever reason, right? And again, sometimes when we meet these people earlier on in life, we feel obliged, we feel obligated to continue a relationship that's no longer beneficial. It's not that you have to hate the person or whatever, you outgrow, but sometimes we hold on to these relationships too long and they do us damage.
So I kind of didn't like confrontation. I tried my best not to be argumentative. And with her, she had a very weird way of being.
So she was actually the peacemaker. She says, I try not to be argumentative. You realize that something was off, but you didn't put too much stock into it. So in this situation, she would have been the peacemaker, right?
I think other girls noticed that she was quite begrudgeful. It was something that a lot of girls wanted to stay away from. If I was her friend, I did not want to be on the bad side of her. As we were.
So these are also signs. Look at how your so-called friends treat your enemies, or look up how they treat other people. She was aware that if this was the case, she wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of this person. So this is you knowing that there's something off with this person, but I'm going to ignore all these signs and continue anyway, right? So was this the case in Shaquilla Robinson's situation? Did she choose to ignore signs? And if so, why? There are a lot of people in her hometown saying she was the nicest person. And sometimes our willingness to be perceived in such a way can be our own detriment, right? But let's continue here.
Were teenagers, her family were quite strict, so she wasn't always allowed out. So I had a lot of other friends, and I was quite popular in my school year. And sometimes in the classroom, when I would be laughing with my friends, she would just send me over a blank stare, a threatening stare even. I had people warn me. I had people also laugh at her. They used to say she was like copying me, that she wanted to be like me and stuff like that. So like
again, sometimes people are attracted friendship wise to someone else who has qualities. Like if you're reserved, or if they're reserved and you're outspoken, they may want to get closer to you because they want to tap into that aspect, or they're drawn to that aspect of you. But then some people, men and women, they take it to the next degree where they covet that quality within you. Right. And so now they try to emulate and copy everything you do. If you do this, they want to do that. So now there's no longer any individuality, which is a red flag. It's like that Single White Female movie. It's all of a sudden now they want to merge into being you. That's a problem, fam. But let's continue.
They used to say like she was quite obsessed. When people would express this to me, I would always say, you know, she's my friend. I would always defend her and say we're friends. There was a slow separation in our friendship, and at this point I was 18. We were studying at different places. We just didn't see much of each other.
Again, for those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. And then definitely, if you've had this type of experience, drop it in the comment section, because you never know who comes behind us, who watches, who may need a word in season. And so if definitely sharing your experience is always helpful. And so sometimes there's a natural separation, but we want to hold on, or the other person wants to hold on, and they want to hold on beyond the natural time, right?
And I had a boyfriend, and she sent him a really horrible text, just saying a lot of horrible things about me. When I heard that the text was from Mary, I remember texting her saying, I don't know why you sent this text message. It was just no need for her interference in my relationship, and it was just a new relationship. She didn't know much about it, so she was just trying to ruin things for me. And that was the first sign I saw that something was wrong.
And again, she's like that. I'm like, lady, that's the first sign. Mary was already showing some signs. But again, we're younger, and this is all hindsight. This is all retrospect when you're going through it. But I've had people do similar type things. And if you're the person who doesn't come with like the smoke, you're confused. You're like, huh? You've had people like go behind you, try to sabotage relationships, and when you find out, you're like, what in the world? Like, who does this type of stuff? But there definitely are different minds out there. Just the same way there are different plants, there are different species, there's different type of minds out there. And just because you don't think in a certain way doesn't mean other people don't.
So I confronted Mary about the messages. We argued. It was quite a bitter argument. And then I didn't speak to her for about a year. And she called me one day and she was like, hello. And I was like, who is it? And she was like, it's Mary. And I was like, oh, Mary, how are you? I wasn't angry anymore. I was now in a new relationship. So I had a new boyfriend. So I was just over the past. And she had said to me, you know, I was so angry with you. I wanted to throw acid in your face. She was angry at me because I think for the first time in our friendship, I really gave her what she was giving me back. And
then how do you go to that level? Okay, you violated someone, you went behind their back, you did all these things, right? Where is your mind that you're so angry that you want to violate somebody and assault them in a way in which that you're going to physically damage them for life? You're not well, you're not balanced. You're not balanced.
And I think it was years of like a lot of insults and just berating me that I just all put together, and I just kind of like let go in that instance and just kind of went off on her. After she told me that, I was like, you know, if someone was to do that to me, they're going to prison, right? Like, that's not possible. And she was just like, you know, oh, you know, she was just joking.
Who, again, we also have to watch. The Bible tells you about the person who jests in a certain way and then say they were just joking. She wasn't joking. She wasn't joking. So this woman internalized all of the abuse. Remember early on, she talked about the girl was very nasty. She would pass all these remarks. So she was already jealous. But because she was absorbing it, it emboldened her to continue, Mary or whatever her name is to continue the foolishness. So finally, when the person who you've been bullying or who you've been dumping on or who you've been exploiting, when they push back, all of a sudden, you're offended, right? And this is where we have this unevenly yoked, imbalanced relationship where the person is very much comfortable abusing you. So it doesn't do anybody any favors to be in an imbalanced relationship or a toxic relationship and continue to make the person abuse you and then cover it over and make it all good. It doesn't. I've heard many of stories of when you finally stand up to this type of person, they're going to make sure they try to either emotionally malign your name in the streets, or in this case, physically harm you.
That she didn't really mean it. And then we went on to just kind of say sorry to each other, forgive each other, and like move on. She came to see me one day, actually, when I was working in Victoria's Secret in Stratford Westfields. I was kind of becoming again really popular, and I had my boyfriend. So the day that it happened, I was getting ready for work. I had a late shift. I remember going to Stratford and just feeling like, oh, the day's going to be short. It's going to be over and done with, and before you know it, I'll be back home. And then on my way home, as I was getting off the bus to cross the road to go home, I was on the phone to my boyfriend while I was on the bus. And that's when I saw someone in a niqab. She was wearing all black and she had like a black covering. So I didn't recognize it was her.
Did she put on, again, this is me first time watching. I only watched the beginning. I didn't get so far because I wanted to just do a YouTube video one time we had the conversation. But did the homegirl put on Muslim garb to come and attack this woman? Everything.
And as I was about to cross the road, I just felt a huge splash, and I was screaming. I remember I was screaming. My skin was burning. I still have the scars here.
This is horrible. What is going on in your mind? Wow.
Obviously on my face, some on my chest. I just remember running to my door, screaming. And then my mum opened the door and I just saw the whole house, my whole family's face just dropped. I remember running upstairs, taking off my lashes, taking off my clothes, having to go in the bath. My godmother had to like rinse me, throw so much water on me. My mum was calling the ambulance. My cousins were all around me in the bathroom, like, you know, put her in the bath.
So you see, this wasn't, I was just joking. She was really testing to see what she would say. Like, you... What did I name this again? Signs and symptoms or fake friends, and being able to discern that you don't just drive past these type of very red lights, right? Because someone can get hurt. Okay.
The bath, throw water on her. And I remember I was just shivering, making noises, just like, who would do this to me? Am I ugly? No one's ever gonna marry me. I'm ugly now. No one's ever gonna marry me.
Is this the first thing you were thinking about, lady? You know, people could die from this. like, did your mind go to, is no one ever gonna marry me? I'm sorry, she took me there. What are we doing? Like, and this is what you were thinking when you were trying to figure out if you're...
The ambulance came and I was rushed straight to the hospital. I just remember being sat down on like a wheelchair and then on a chair, and them having to pour like this huge shower of cold water on me, freezing cold, as my flesh is literally being burnt. I was in the hospital for a month.
Wow.
I had to have surgeries on my face. So the first...
Who would do this though? Who? Oh, Most High, help humanity. Help humanity. Thou shalt not covet. All of this came from jealousy. Where did the jealousy come from? Coveting. What? Coveting somebody else's experience. And through doing so, you want to go to the degree where you will cause physical harm, emotional and mental distress to someone because you feel that you're entitled. That's crazy.
Like, my skin had been burnt 3rd degree, so they had to take off all the burnt skin and replace it with skin from my thigh and put it on my face and put it on my scars. The acid had burnt my eyelids, so it had got into both my eyes and burnt off this eyelid, and I had to have skin from behind my ear removed to create an eyelid. Initially, I thought someone was out to kill me. So while I was in hospital, I was feeling like I just missed a lucky shot. Like, I was very lucky to be alive. So I'm just gonna troop this through until we find out who did it. At the time, I didn't know who had done it. I didn't know who it was until the police had told me that Mary was the one underneath the niqab.
How did they know that? Mary, you didn't do an excellent job unless you came to the precinct and turned yourself in. You didn't do a great job of hiding that it was you there. What in the world? You ever heard of a good old fashioned old school meet me after school, after lunch at 3:00? Like, what made you think you needed to go to these levels?
Basically, the bag she wore that day, she brought to the police station when being questioned, and from there on,
Only that. Look, no, you told on yourself with the bag, everything.
they searched her home and found evidence that it was her. I had left the hospital, and when I found out that it was Mary that had done it, I basically couldn't eat and speak for about 3 days. I was in such shock, in utter shock. I couldn't say anything. Mary was sentenced to 12 years and she had to do 6. So she's out now. When I found
That's it? That's it? For such a brutal attack? 12 years and you only had to do 6? You ruined a woman's life, ruined her face for life, and you only did 6?
out it was her, it shocked me because after the attack, I had a surprise birthday.
Why did it shock you when she already said that she was so angry that she would want to do something to you? Like, she would be suspect number 1.
Party for my 21st birthday. So my ex-boyfriend threw me a surprise birthday party. I, at the time, had no eyelids. I could barely walk because of my skin graft, but I went, and Mary showed up.
Father, give us.
Knowing that.
Now let me know if I could still be heard. Hold on. Mary didn't show up. Mary did not. How did she show up if she was in jail? Mary didn't show up. No, she didn't. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's still going. Mary didn't show up.
She was the one that had done it. Mary showed up. At this point, I didn't know that she was there, and she was there pretending to cry, and I was rubbing her back saying, "Don't worry, I'll be okay, don't cry, don't cry." I finally connected the dots, and I realized that she really meant what she said, and she did it. So I can only wonder what was going through her mind. She obviously was very jealous of me, which was something that I didn't really pick up on.
Okay, you see what she just said? Again, we're talking about these very real and present warning signs. What happened to this young girl, Shanquilla Robinson, in Cabo? She didn't get a skin graft. She lost her life because it got deadly, right? And what this woman just said is that she didn't pick up on the signs. You didn't pick up, or you chose to ignore them. You saw them there, other people saw them, but you chose to ignore them and continue to engage it in such a way that the person had the ability to harm you in this way. It's very disheartening to see. Let's continue to hear the end of this.
I didn't notice. I just thought she's kind of outlandish with everyone. So this is just her kind of personality. And then obviously when all said and done and she did what she did, I was like, oh, wow, she was really, really, really jealous. This is the ultimate betrayal. I used makeup as a way to move on. It really helped me just restore the essence of myself and that importance of I'm still here.
Okay, so yeah, the root of it is jealousy, right? She realizes after she's gone through all of this that the root of the issue was jealousy, and the core of jealousy is covetousness, right? Which is the 10th commandment: thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Don't covet something that belongs to somebody else, because essentially you're going to lie, you're going to steal, you're going to rob, you're going to do all the things to get this thing that you covet, that you desire. Essentially, coveting is desiring, right? But don't desire something that belongs to someone else. So, and sometimes it's not the physical thing that belongs to somebody else, right? It's the attributes of other people. you hear people say all the time, they wish they were blah 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 like you, or they wish, or you say it, and whatever you feel is of value that that person possesses, that you may not possess, or that you may not possess in the same measure, then that desire, that wanting, turns into coveting, which turns into jealousy or envy. Now, some people may ask, what's the difference between jealousy and envy? It is said that jealousy is feeling protective over that which you think belongs to you, and envy is desiring that which belongs to somebody else. So, the husband may feel jealous over the wife, or the child may feel jealous over the mother, right? But wanting a mother like your friend has, or wanting the husband that your friend has, is this envying of the person, because you have no legal right to that thing, or whatever the case may be. Some people may say potato, potato, but the core of it is wanting something that is either not yours, doesn't belong to you, it's not your portion, you know what I mean? And oftentimes, and it happens in very, very little children, you could put the same exact bowl down on the table. One is green, one is red, has the same amount of food. You weighed it on the scale and nobody's getting shorted. And some way, somehow, because I've watched children, they're going to want what the other person has. Some way, somehow, you're going to feel as though what you have in your possession is not enough. And in these particular cases, it goes beyond. People actually take it from a thought and they put it into action. I have one more to go over here. Let me see what's going on in the comment section below. For those who just joined us, this is crazy. A lot of people are wondering what happened in this Shanquilla Robinson situation, but at the core of it, at the core of it, it has to be some type of ill feelings and some type of bad blood. Because even the way that the friends are talking, it's very cold, it's very disconnected. It's very much like the young children like to say, it's giving, I still don't care. It's giving, they would do it is not giving, oh, I'm conscious of that what I did, cost somebody their life. It's really not giving that at this moment. This is one more that I came across yesterday, and I was like, okay, these are wild, and this particular one is out of jealousy, I destroyed my best friend's marriage, tied her womb to become barren. That's crazy. Just even reading that sounds crazy. Okay. So I'm just going to play a little bit about this. And this particular woman, she is so out of touch. She sounds like Mary from the other story. She is so out of touch with, and she's the one who's telling the story. So this would kind of be like, we heard the story just now from the victim's perspective. This story is coming from like Mary's perspective, in the sense of why the person did what they did. So let's take a listen.
From crèche to kindergarten and all that, to primary school and then junior high school, until Adobia had a boyfriend. And unfortunately for me, I got...
Wait. Why the interviewer? The interviewer got his I'm not trying to react face on. His eyes is all pulped out. He's like, this theory is bugged. Let me go back. So basically she's saying she knew this woman they were little, their mothers were friends, they raised them like twins, and they had this me and you will never part Maki Dada color purple relationship. Okay, so let's continue.
I was pregnant.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
I've been getting
No. Hold on 1 second.
And Adobia disappeared.
Adobia disappeared?
She disappeared from then. So I came home and then she was in school. When she comes back from school, she behaves as if she doesn't know me.
Oh.
She stopped associating herself with me. She made new friends, found new best friend and all that. And I
because you became pregnant?
Because I was pregnant. And
okay, I have to fast forward the story a little bit, and then we're going to go to the end for her real indifference. So essentially, the long and short of it is, because this is like long, right? 46 minutes. The long and short of it is they grew up together. When they get into high school, they're in school. Now her friend, according to her narrative, comes and tells her friend has a boyfriend. Her friend's like, what? And so according to her, they promise to do everything together, marry together, do the same profession and all this stuff. So the friend pops up with a boyfriend, and the friend is like, yo, you ain't got no boyfriend? And she's like, nah. So the friend hooks her up, and then she ends up getting pregnant. And she's upset with the friend because she's saying the friend didn't give her a heads up about this. She was naive, and the friend introduced her to something, and she got caught. So the friend went on to go to university. The friend went on to get married. The friend went on to get a career, and she's now struggling with a child and no further education, and she's an outcast in her community because of the direction that she goes. So she feels that she's justified in coming at the friend in such a way because the friend is the one who gave her bad advice, right? So that's what's going on there. Let's fast forward a little bit. So now that you get the backstory, now let's listen to the extreme level. Now the other girl, she went and threw acid on her friend. But let's listen to what this girl does.
From her hands.
From her hands.
Yes.
Wrote her name on
Wrote
it.
her name on it. Her job,
And give to the
and give to the
spiritualist.
spiritualist.
Okay, so let me fast forward you a little bit. Her friend, sees the girl who's now established and it's like, yo, can you help me out? And essentially the girl's like, I don't have much, but I'm gonna give you this money. And instead of taking the money to do whatever she felt she needed to do, she actually went to the quote unquote spiritualist because now she's going to employ spiritual means to bring her friend back down to her level. This is crazy. I have to put the link in the description so you can watch it at your own discretion because this is crazy. It's wild, okay?
And then we bent it. And then that was the beginning. She lost her job first thing. Since she's my friend and I could get access to her anytime I want. When she went to the washroom, I went through her stuff. I took whatever was necessary, whatever I needed.
So you took what you had to take to where?
Back to the traditionalist.
So basically she's saying, because it's a little low, she's saying she had access to the quote unquote friend. And so she took her personal belongings to the spiritualist so that they can work obia basically on this friend. And essentially her request was that she wanted the friend to lose her job. She wanted the friend to, she actually, according to her admission, tied the womb of the friend so the friend would be barren. All of these things, so the husband would leave her, all of these things because she felt offended that she took the advice of the friend, okay, and her life was ruined. Therefore, she has the right to ruin the friend's life. It's long, but my point is from the initial video that I showed with Jess Hilaris's skit to the other video of the young woman in England to this video, we see a common thread. And one of the warning signs is don't ignore the warning signs, right? Don't overlook. And no one is perfect, but when you're overlooking some very real and present things that can later on, these things are extreme, but it may ruin your life in other ways, right? It behooves us to really assess certain relationships that we had or that we have, because in this case of this other girl, she took the advice of her friend and it compromised her, right? She didn't have to take it. It was advice. You decided to take it. And so now you have to take some level of accountability to say you believed what she was telling you, even though she advised you and you fell in the pit and she didn't. So I guess since the friend didn't fall in the pit, you decided to push her in there. But okay. So let me see what's going on in the comment section. Again, let me see if I can jump to, because at one point she asked the interviewer, is she evil? And the interviewer was like, yeah. And she couldn't see it. She really thought she was justified. But let me jump ahead here. Hold on. Oh, come on now. Hold on one second. So sometimes like I said, the mind has to justify the bad behavior, or otherwise else you wouldn't be able to sleep. You wouldn't be able to sleep. So in order to do so, you convince yourself that you needed to do what you did.
My friend's husband, so-called husband, she always.
Hold on.
Initially, I didn't want to do that because I have a child and she's also and she has always been going here about sleeping. I even took her to my spiritualist
Wait, the wild part. Y'all have to just go watch that. The wild part is after she did all of this spiritual wickedness to the friend, she was there, just like how the woman said that Mary showed up when she was burnt, trying to console her. This woman was there while the friend's life was falling apart, and then took her to the same Obia man, the same spiritualist, the same voodoo doctor that did it to her to try to get to try to pretend like she was gonna fix it. Yo, discernment. Ask the creator for discernment. The ability, sometimes our brokenness, sometimes our trauma allows us to bond with people that is going to re-injure us. And by doing so, we're not able to see. Pray for discernment and vision, because what is this? What is this? Let me see. Let me see if I can get to the part when the guy asked.
Yes.
Looking for solution.
Looking for solution. I had to do something for her not to think I'm happy about her condition.
Isn't that the same thing Mary did? She showed up so that she wouldn't think it was her. And this girl shows up to pretend. So you will have people who will listen to your problems, pretend like they're there, but they're there so that they can get information, right? They're secretly rejoicing, but they're present and listening to your problems and your issues so that they can get information. Does this say not to trust anybody? No, it's to say that we just need to be mindful, especially if we attract people in our broken state. If we are on our healing journey and we have not purged certain things and we're still emitting a certain type of frequency, more often than not, you're going to attract somebody who's on that level, right? And so if we're not aware, and we can let them into spaces and give them clearance in our lives into spaces that they don't belong. And they can do a lot of damage in that space. In the same way this girl came up into the woman's house, took her personal belongings, and tried to spiritually hold her down. Okay? Let me see what else going on here.
And then this is one thing she said to me.
Yeah.
For 7 years, she can't give birth. And then he...
Because she gave you a boyfriend that got you pregnant. That's it.
You're saying as if it's so simple.
So look, 36 minutes in, the interviewer is like, what in the world? He's really trying to, you see his face? He's trying to wrap his mind around, how did you get down this rabbit hole? Like, he's still at the first thing, like, so she gave you a boyfriend and the boyfriend got you pregnant, not the friend. Not the friend, the boyfriend got you pregnant. You're not mad at the person who got you pregnant, or that you are the one who took ill advice. You're mad at this friend who succeeded when it's like, both of you guys are there. One person gets caught and does time and the other person is scotch free. And you plan the demise of the person who got away because you know that both of you, like, I don't know. So he's trying to figure it out. Let's listen.
She did this to me. That's what she did to me. She's the one that introduced the man to me, and she didn't tell me.
Okay, that's nonsensical. She didn't impregnate you. She gave you bad advice, but she didn't impregnate you. The man did. Where's he? Where is he? So because she didn't tell you that you needed to protect yourself, you wanted her to be your mother because she's just as young as you, okay? Because y'all are the same age. So you have all of these expectations about what she should have done, and you seem to be very codependent, heavily dependent on someone else to instruct you on everything that you need to know in life.
She didn't let me know of things I was supposed to know, and I got pregnant, and then she just left me.
And this is your life.
And this is my life. So.
And you are thinking she's responsible for what you have become today.
She is responsible.
Your life is in your hands.
There you go.
She caused us. If she hadn't given me a boyfriend, maybe I would have achieved whatever we planned to achieve, just like her. And
so again, like I said, we convince ourselves, especially when you're doing wrong. She caused it. You have to look for who in you, because you don't want to take any accountability, right? Just in the case of the Mary, whatever is going on with her, what did this woman do that put you to this level that you wanted to do her so much harm? Right? So I say that to say, as this Shanquilla situation is unfolding, I believe, if you guys have been following along, I believe that there's a warrant out for the arrest of I think it was the girl in the video, if I'm not mistaken. There's so much information coming out daily, but I think the girl who was in the video shown beating her, like literally this young woman, they're telling her to fight back and she's saying no, she's not going to fight back. Right. So she's taking all of these blows to her head, to the back of her neck. And it is so disheartening. It is so disheartening to see that this is how people are out there doing their so-called friends. Like, if you don't like the person, just let it be known and just stay away. But to what end is this? Now, somebody somewhere is going to be sitting down for quite some time. Yeah, they issued a warrant. Somebody somewhere. Let's take a look at this video real quick, and then I'm gonna sign off. That's kind of what I wanted to show. I put the link in the description below if you want to watch that in full. But somebody somewhere was able to convince themselves that because you don't like this person, you want to fight them and you want to attack them and you want to do all manner of foolishness. Yeah, I know there's so many stories coming out, sis. That's why, like, stuff like this, I try to kind of just watch it as it unfolding, because covering it moment to moment, it takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people doing that right now. But this News Nation report, let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below of, have you had this experience? If so, what did you do? Or were you this person? Like, it takes some type of single white female vibration. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but it takes a certain kind of mind. It takes a certain kind of mind to take things to this level.
North Carolina woman killed while on vacation in Mexico. According to local authorities, an arrest warrant has been issued now in connection with the death of 25-year-old Chanquella Robinson. News Nation correspondent Sloan Glass is joining us live now with the details.
Well, Natasha, the major update is from our News Nation affiliate, WJZY, in Charlotte, North Carolina. They have confirmed that Chanquella Robinson's death was a direct attack and not an accident. Mexican prosecutors.
It's clear. But let's continue.
Prosecutors have issued an arrest warrant for a suspect, and prosecutors say Robinson's death was apparently caused by one of her friends while the group was on vacation in Cabo.
Why she had to say from friends like that? Because that was no kind of friend. With friends like that, who needs enemies?
Robinson's mom, Salamandra, is trying to piece together how this nightmare happened.
I want everything to come out because I want the truth. What happened to my child?
I'm trying not to distract it, but did they say her mom's name is Salamandra?
And I want justice done. So I want all the videos to be released, everything out there, released it.
It started with a frantic call from Robinson's friends. They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning. They couldn't get a pulse.
And this whole alcohol poisoning story is very interesting. The friends.
Each individual present in Cabo with Chanquella had a different story.
Why did you call her Chanquella, lady? I need a retraction. I don't think her name is Chanquella.
When the autopsy came back, it didn't have anything to do with the alcohol. Robinson had a broken neck, and her spine in the back was cracked. She had been beaten.
She had a knot on her head, lip was busted. Even the guy said she had a bloodshot eye. You know, the doctor didn't do their job either.
We know at some point Robinson was violently assaulted.
While how many other people stood around and watched? None of these people are friends. What are you, in the third grade where you met after? Why are you? So one throws acid, the other one goes to the elbow man, and you just decided to take the person out. What did the person do that warranted this response? And sometimes, again, people are just covetous and envious and jealous of whatever they feel you have that they do not. And you never know what degree people will go.
Multiple people watched the fight, encouraging Robinson to fight back.
Look, can you at least fight back? No.
She says no before she's thrown to the ground and punched and kicked in the head and back of the neck, all while she's completely naked. Robinson's mom is now pleading with the public and those on the trip to share any remaining video and information that could help their family learn the full truth.
The original police report and death certificate gave conflicting information about Robinson's
So this is why when you do this type of moment-to-moment reporting, there's so much conflicting information. The story's all muddled. It's here and there, and then you run with this and you run with that, and you misinform here and you misinform there, especially when it's an active investigation going on. I know sometimes we, the people on the internet, want to be reporting and up to the minute, but the reality is sometimes you could be throwing stuff off, right? Because you peeing in the water a little bit. Especially the pressure that is being put on the authorities is good. FBI is involved, Mexican government is involved. There's pressure, and that part is good. But the other parts about running with storylines that may not be, that we make up because we in the back talking about, I wonder what happened. You know what I mean? A lot of that is going on. And I think this case is really sad. This case is really sad. But again, in line with what I have just gone over, there are a lot of signs. Did Shanquella have any signs that these people that she was about to go on a trip with weren't her real friends? Right? The guy, I forget his name, that comes to the mother says that he has been to their house. He's been on family trips. And remember that peacemaker, what I've talked about, you may have that person that may be the bridge or the connection to other people that you really don't mess with like that, but you'll go because, you want to X, Y, and Z. And so there are a lot of people in this day and time that want to go here and go there and go here and go here and post on Instagram, and you're doing it for the gram and you're doing it for the book and you're doing it for TikTok so it looks like, right? But what trouble are you putting yourself in some of these situations? Because when you travel with people, you should be able to trust the people that you are traveling with. No, if you're traveling with people into a foreign country, even in locally, you want to be able to trust the people that you are traveling with because you're in a foreign environment. Everything is strange. So the fact that you can't even trust the people that you're traveling with. So I say all of this to say, may we continue to use wisdom, ask the Most High for discernment, and move through the earth a little bit more aware of where we are and who we are. I don't think they hid their hatred all that well. But she may have just brushed it off. You know what I mean? Like, I say that, I looked at the date when she was born, and she was born on the same day I was born. You know what I mean? It doesn't say that everybody's the same, but I know my temperament when it comes to people. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, chill. She was born when I graduated high school. I'm like, wow. But on the same day that I was born. So there's a certain type of temperament that comes with different people and how they see conflict and how they see trouble and how they see friends. And, and also it has to do with your upbringing and your exposure. So, sometimes you don't understand why somebody doesn't like you or why they're upset with you, or, you know what I mean? And maybe she didn't put too much stock in it. It's clear because she was there with them. She maybe didn't put too much stock in the fact that this person has an attitude or this person is kind of standoffish. She was going to just possibly show up and be who she was anyway. And you see a little bit of that in the video that they show when she's walking through the villa looking for them. Right. And they look like they were in the room whispering. It's a little piece of, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. You see a little bit of the personality of the person. Hold on. Because why are you looking for these people if you felt like they didn't really like you? Hold on. I'm a little different in the respect that I'll be like, nah, bro, I'm good. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be like, nah, I'm good, fam. But I can't seem to. It was the video before. Why was she naked? Because in that video, she was asking, why does it take so long to get naked? So the fact that she was naked when she was being beat is interesting, because when she was walking through the villa with the video camera looking for them, she was saying, why does it take so long to be naked? So Imagine the last video of you is you literally, why are you naked? These are just so many questions. And because I know me and I know that I'll be having a lot of questions, I'm like, let me not even go down this rabbit hole. Because I know my mind. So I'm going to just stick with that and not go down this rabbit hole. So anywho, with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me see if I have any announcements to make. I'm still waiting for those who ask me. I have some people asking me what's going on with the trial time social. I'm trying to see whether or not it's a scam or not. They gave us 4 weeks to wait to see. So that's what I'm waiting on. And then I'll definitely report back with that one. So with that said, in the interim, thank everybody for tuning in. This is Amuna. Like, subscribe, and share. They were going swimming naked. That's weird. Like I said, that's weird. Sis. They were going swimming naked. That video, I don't know if you remember the video. That last video, she's behind the camera and she's walking through and asking, where are you guys? Another thing that I think is and I said I was gonna go, but another thing that I think is verbal violence for me, and a lot of it ushered in with the girlfriends era. That's what I wanted to talk about, is the way that relationship with girlfriends is depicted, that you could call people out their name, A, B. I've never been down with that. Like, yo, who are you talking to? Right? And so that kind of passive aggressive relationship that is highlighted in all of these what is it called? Housewives of a displaced, and all of these Kardashian type of energy, and all of this energy makes people think like that's friendly. That's not friendly. That's not friendly. That's the thing I wanted to talk about. It was the girlfriends, and you had the peacemaker. So in that show, you had the peacemaker, which would be Joan, right? This is exactly what I want to say, and then I'll to wrap up, right? You had Joan in Girlfriends, who knew Tony from they were little, from in Fresno, right? And then you had, I'm just talking about the way in which the same dysfunction is highlighted, right? And then you had the person she met in college, which was what's her name? The other one, Lynn. And then you had the girlfriend that was a job associate, which was what's her face? I can't remember. Maya, right? But you also had the way in which they talk to each other. I remember, I think I was doing for the research I was doing for Angry Black Woman Syndrome Revisited, and I counted, there was somebody did a montage of the amount of times that they called each other the B word in that show. And I think I noted that in the book when I was doing the research about the way in which they condition us to think that this is how you respond and this is how you deal with each other. There's no friend of mine is going to be calling me out my name and I'm going to egg you on. I'm not going to be calling you out your name. Like I guess I come from a different era, right? But that's where a lot of this stuff was drilled into the minds. Not to say that it didn't exist before, but this is where a lot of it was drilled into the minds of the people. Let me see if it's still on YouTube, because the stuff that used to be on the YouTube is not on YouTube anymore. So hold on. Oh, yep, it's still here. So to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about and how this energy, and please, again, the rating, but how this energy is not only just shown to us from the dysfunction within the culture, but there are people in other places that benefit from highlighting this type of stuff. So let me go ahead and share this one thing since I brought it up. I'm going to share this real quick. I can't believe it's still on YouTube. They pulled off a whole lot of other stuff on YouTube, but this is still here. And knowing me, y'all, if y'all don't, I count. Yeah, that's my bad. I accidentally clicked. So let me know if I can still be heard, and then if I can still be heard. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to still see if I could be heard before. So this was one of the. Okay. So let me see if it's gonna come up on the screen here.
Hey, sweetie.
Okay, so this is a montage, like I'm talking about these toxic relationships, and at the end they say we're girlfriends, and really you're enemies. Because why would you talk to your friend like that? I don't get it. But this was something that I came across, like I said, years ago when I was doing this research, right? So let's take a listen. Again, this is for research purposes, so please excuse the language. But just in this 3 minutes and 44 seconds, I'm gonna see how much I can take. But look at how sometimes, we will forget that this is what these young girls were growing up on. Because during that time, Girlfriends is coming out in the early 2000s, right? This young girl here, she's 25. She's born in 1997, right? So she's 25 years old. That means when they were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this is the stuff that was on TV, right? This is what was being fed into their spirit. So let's look at a little bit of it. Okay, so she's talking about her friend here. She's talking about her friend Tony Childs to someone else. She's calling out her name. She's exhibiting all this aggression, doesn't realize she's behind her, and instead of coming to her in a respectful way, she's doing what she's doing. So let's continue. Somebody thought, hey, let's put it together. And they read a BITCH is a sister girl, a homie, a road dog. So the definition has been redefined. This aggression, like I said before, it has been woven into the fabric, especially for the millennials, the ones that came after my particular generation. We grew up in it, but we were a little bit older, but they were inculcated with this type of love and hip hop, girlfriends type of energy. Okay, y'all can't be playing no music. Let's see, hold on. Enjoy the clips. Okay.
I'm sad. Being such a bitch.
Yeah, you really.
Okay, slow your roll.
Ball-headed bitch. You need to blind that bitch.
Bitch.
What were you bitches thinking? Bitch, don't play them. You get that thing.
So wait a minute. So clearly whoever is y'all don't make me go over here and really look at who was the writers behind the show, because I did it the other day. Look at whose agenda was it during this time. This is after Cosby's off the air. Well, I grew up on Cosby and A Different World and Family Matters, where this was never the conversation, right? But the generation behind us grew up on a very different diet. This is the diet, okay? So who, and I remember like who's behind this? Maybe I have to come back and see who's behind normalizing this type of energy and showing this type of energy. Like, again, if you look at Different World and this show, they're like night and day. Okay, I might have to come back and do that, Judah, but let's listen a little more. Oh,
I want to know who the bitch is.
Brother, bitch, bravissima. You heard the bitch. I'm on the clock. Get up. Okay, you know what, bitch? Get out.
The bitch fine.
I've been a total bitch to you.
You bitch!
What a bitch.
okay, y'all get the point. I'm halfway through and I think I can't take anymore. But I'm gonna have to come back now. I'm intrigued. I told y'all about this rabbit hole. I'm intrigued now. I know I did it. I have to go back and look at the Angry Black Woman research again. Because now I'm intrigued into who are the writers behind. I'm just going to do it right now because probably it'll take me another week to come back and have this conversation with you guys. I'm really trying to get a better schedule with the YouTube, but there's just so much going on you people would not believe, yo. So for the sake of time, Amuna's just going to, who was the writer on Girlfriends? Because when you look at even Living Single wasn't to this degree. Girlfriends comes after Living Single and Girlfriends takes it up a notch. But when you look at Friends versus Living Single, and then you look at the direction that Girlfriends went in, it went left. Okay, so they're saying Mara Brock Akil, which is this person here. Let's see here. They say that this woman, who is she? She unleashed a lot of stuff. Here, hold on. Let me share the screen real quick. Because this is my live research. Because again, like I said, it's probably gonna take me a while. Share less screen. They're saying that this woman, and I definitely have to look more into this, but Mara Brock Akil is an American screenwriter and television producer. She created the UPN comedy series Girlfriends and its spin-off The Game. She later created the first drama series for BET, Being Mary Jane. That Being Mary Jane was, I don't know if you guys remember, ridiculous. Okay? So they're saying that she here is the writer of, or the creator of the show. This bears looking into, but not at this particular moment, but it bears looking into. Because why would you want to bring such things to the forefront? Did somebody pay you? Hold on. She's a Delta. She began writing South Central, Jamie Foxx Show, writing for Moesha. Then she came with Girlfriends, The Game, Hold on. Oh no, she got sued. Somebody help me. Let me see here. Brock working on the set. Hold on, you guys. Let me see what's going on. The couple has 2 children. She and her husband Salim are practicing Sufi Muslims. No, sir. Something doesn't sound right. You are practicing Muslim, and it was your idea to bring this type of stuff to the screen? I don't know about that. This is interesting. This is interesting. These days, we need to know who's behind whatever is going on right here. Writer, director. Because why would you bring this much debased type of energy to the screen for the young children? They come out after school, they sitting here and they think, oh, that's how you behave. It's not like women weren't catty enough before, but now it's over the top to the degree that we're seeing that you're not just fighting. Back in the day, they would want to cut somebody's face and razor blade people and pull out their weaves and give them bald spots and all of these other things. But now you're taking it to the degree where you took someone's life. That's crazy. But with that said, I think I put the link in the description below. Judah says she has a cousin that's a Delta. They accept a lot from their friends and it's not good. I mean, you know, I would just say there's a trend, or was a trend on social media, where you have people who pledged denouncing their letters. That's interesting videos to I've watched a few of them in times past, because the very act of trauma bonding is what's present in the whole pledging process. This is what bonds the people together as line brothers and line sisters, right? They have the element of secrecy. You have the element of just putting the people through trauma, which is their hazing process. You have the element of humiliation that has to take place. And so the people who go through this collectively, they're trauma bonded, right? And so, as you said, because in order for you to enter into this sisterhood or brotherhood, you had to be abused collectively. It's kind of like you were in the same house and you're being abused, but in your mind, it's for a greater good. Right. So, yes, they take a lot from one another, because to a certain degree, you feel as though you have secrets, or they have secrets for you, or you have secrets for them. Like, well, I've seen people back in college days come, they were normal, and then they disappeared during their pledging, but you don't get to know what they're doing until they come out on the line where, their face is all covered, and then poop, they pop out and you're like, eh? And now all of a sudden they're bonded to the people that they pledged with. So I've observed it. I've seen it. I never, even back in college, I did not get the concept of making someone beat you, or when some places they don't get beaten, but to humiliate you, whatever they feel they need to do to you. And then you pay them, and then now you get to be down. I never understood it, but I definitely seen it time and time again. So with that said, that may be for another day. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and drop your comments and thoughts below. Again, be mindful, but also be a friend. Sometimes we withdraw ourselves so much so that we forget that we do need to be a friend. If we are talking about people who don't have the capacity to be a friend, then we illustrate that. And sometimes we just choose the wrong people to be friends with and be friends to. So don't forget to be a friend, because there are definitely people out there who would reciprocate. I saw this one lady crying on, it touched my heart. She was crying on TikTok just because the caption says that when you're depressed and having anxiety, but there's no one to talk to because all they're going to do is gossip on you or about you. There are plenty of people who are friendly and would love to be a friend. You remember when you was little and the little child walks up to the next little child and is like, do you want to be my friend? There are plenty of people who want to be friends. But the question is, who do we seem to want to be friendly with? And if we have an inclination to the wrong type of person, it may be an indication that there's something in us that needs to be fixed so that we can get true friends. Right? So with that said, I want to thank you for tuning in. I will pray that everybody have a blessed day, and hopefully it won't take me another week to come back and drop another video. We'll talk again soon. Like, subscribe, and share.